In a quiet classroom nestled in a small town, a group of students gathered on a brisk autumn morning. For most of them, it was just another day, a rhythm of lessons, quiet scribbling, and the predictable shuffle of feet between classes. Yet none of them suspected that today would mark a turning point in their lives. At the center of this classroom stood Ms. Carter, a teacher with a gentle presence and eyes that glimmered with a deeper kind of understanding. To many, she seemed like any other educator, dedicated, kind, and consistent. Yet beneath her calm surface, she carried a quiet determination to awaken her students to something far more profound than textbook knowledge. As the bell signaled the start of class, Ms. Carter set aside the usual routine. She gazed at her students, each absorbed in their own thoughts, some eager, some restless, others visibly struggling under the weight of self-doubt. She let the silence settle, inviting curiosity and attention before finally speaking.
"Do you ever feel like you're just not good at something?" She began, her voice soft yet imbued with conviction. Like, no matter how hard you try, you just can't get it. Whether it's math, art, sports, or even making friends? She paused, watching as heads nodded tentatively, eyes flickering with recognition. Then she told them a story, not from history books, but from her own life. She described her first year as a teacher, when nothing seemed to go right. Lessons flopped, students misbehaved. She doubted herself at every turn. "I started to think I just wasn't cut out for this," she admitted. But then something changed. I read about the growth mindset, the idea that abilities aren't fixed, that we aren't stuck with the skills we have, but instead we can grow and learn, even from our mistakes. That realization changed everything for me. Curiosity bloomed in the room. Ms. Carter went on, "Think about it. Imagine if every time you stumbled, instead of saying, 'I can't,' you said, 'I can't do this yet?' What if every mistake became a step forward, instead of a reason to give up?" Her words seemed to hover in the air, echoed quietly in the minds of each student. She picked up a piece of chalk and drew 2 circles on the board. In one, she wrote, "Fixed mindset." In the other, "Growth mindset." She explained, "A fixed mindset is when we believe our talents and intelligence are set in stone. We avoid challenges, give up easily, and see effort as pointless. But a growth mindset, well, that's when we understand that our abilities can be developed. We embrace challenges, persist through difficulties, and see effort as the path to mastery." She glanced around the room, eyes locking with a boy in the front row, Marcus, who had always struggled with reading. She saw the flicker of hope in his eyes, the momentary question, could this be true for me? "This isn't just a nice idea," she continued. "Science tells us that our brains can change. Neurons form new connections every time we learn something new, even when we make mistakes and try again. Failure isn't the end. It's actually a sign that you're trying, that you're on the path to growth." Her message settled in, mingling with the students' memories of past frustrations and lost confidence. Slowly, the students began to share their own stories. Emily admitted how she gave up on art after one failed painting. Jacob confessed he'd stopped raising his hand in math class, sure he wasn't smart enough to understand. Ms. Carter listened, nodding with empathy. One by one, she reframed their struggles. "Emily, every great artist started with a first failed painting. Jacob, every mathematician has stared at a problem in confusion, but the key is not to stop. Every time you keep going, you build your ability. You're not fixed. You're growing." The conversation blossomed, layer by layer, as students reflected on their setbacks with fresh eyes. At the end, Ms. Carter challenged them. "For the next week, I want each of you to pick something that feels hard, something you struggle with, and push yourself a little further. And when you get stuck, remember, it's not that you can't. You just can't yet." By the time class ended, a hush of inspiration lingered. Students departed carrying something new, an invisible spark that blended hope with determination.
In the days that followed, little changes became visible. Marcus, who once hid at the back, raised his hand more often, willing to risk a wrong answer if it meant learning. Emily started sketching again, filling the margins of her notebooks with new designs. Even Jacob stayed after class for extra help, each session marked by small breakthroughs and quiet pride. Momentum built gradually. Whenever a student was heard saying, "I can't do this," a chorus of friends echoed back, "You can't do it yet." Setbacks became subjects for reflection, not defeat. Ms. Carter kept the 2 circles drawn on the board, a gentle reminder that transformation comes from seeing oneself as a work in progress. Over time, the classroom culture shifted. Students began to recognize progress in each other, celebrating growth rather than perfection. The air buzzed with resilience and curiosity. For some, grades improved. For all, confidence blossomed, from the realization that their potential was not a limit, but a starting point. It all traced back to one message. Words, when spoken with understanding and belief, carry power, enough to ignite transformation. Ms. Carter's simple talk, given on an ordinary day, became a catalyst for change, proving that sometimes the right message at the right moment can alter the trajectory of a life. As each student moved forward into new classrooms, new challenges, and new chapters, they carried the lesson with them. The voice within, once filled with doubt, now whispered encouragement. And when faced with difficulties, they remembered, growth is possible, for anyone willing to try. For all of us, this story is a reminder. In a world eager for change, never underestimate the impact of a single message. Whether you are a teacher, a friend, a parent, or even a stranger, your words can be the spark that awakens possibility in someone's heart. Transformation starts in the mind, and sometimes all it takes is a single talk to light the way. Thank you for watching this episode of Mind Awakening TV. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an awakening moment. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and let's continue the conversation. Stay curious and keep expanding your mind.